be showing you how to do an oil change on your car. So my specific vehicle is a 2002 E46, and I'm going to be showing you what to do on my car. And there will be some differences between my car and your car, because my car is a BMW and it's quirky, but I'll show you that later. So first thing you want to do is check your owner's manual. It'll tell you what kind of oil you need and where your oil drain plug is located and where oil filter is. Now, this vehicle also has a service and warranty information manual that has things logged in of when its last oil change was and more extra information about your oil change. So this specific vehicle uses a 5W-30 full synthetic oil. That's what BMW recommends, and they recommend that you change it every 12,000 to 15,000 miles. Now this vehicle has been tracked in its last oil change 8,700 miles, but we're going to change it sooner than that just for the means of this video. So one of the things that's different about my car is the oil filter. So the oil filter in this car is this. This sits inside of a plastic container under the hood, and it's different to a normal oil filter on most cars like this. This is a metal surrounding, but it looks about the same as this one. The only difference is it's got the surrounding and it screws into the bottom. You just can't see that. If you cut this in half, you would be able to see it. The thing is, when you buy this kit off of wherever you buy it, you can make sure it comes with a gasket for your drain plug. So the things you'll need is, for the drain plug, you will need a 17mm wrench. That's different on every vehicle. For the oil filter, you will need this 36mm socket, because this car is weird. Also, I do suggest you run your car about 5 minutes before you do your oil change. That way the oil is warm and it comes out a little faster and smoother, but it's not too hot that it'll burn your hand. So if you've just driven 1,000 miles, got home and started changing your oil, you're gonna burn your hand off. We don't really want that to happen. I'm trying to suggest you wear gloves. It is very dirty, and if you spill. Now, to jack this vehicle up, you will need these. These are wheel chocks. They go behind the rear wheels. That way our vehicle doesn't roll away and possibly crash into this door here. Another thing you will need is this jack fan. For this vehicle specifically, on BMW, there are these slots that are for the jack points. This slides into, just goes on top of your jack, and it makes it so the jack point actually works. You're gonna need a drain pan here. That's will take our oil. This vehicle holds 7 quarts of oil. That's kind of a lot of oil. So a normal pan, you need a quite large pan for this specific vehicle. We're gonna need a funnel, because when we actually put our new oil in the vehicle, from here, we're gonna pour it into this funnel under the hood. So when I'm jacking this vehicle, I'm using this jack, and for my safety, I have a jack stand. That way if the car falls on me, it won't crush me and I won't die, because that would not be very fun. Also, plenty of paper towels, again, in case oil gets on my hands or somewhere else on the floor. We want to keep this environment as clean as possible, because that's just better for working. All right, now I'm going to put those wheel chocks right here behind the back wheels of the vehicle, and then I'm going to show you where that jack point is. All right, so I've put the wheel chocks in place, and you can see I've got the jack fitted up with the puck, and it fits in that nice little slot there on this car. And the next thing to do is jack. Make sure your handbrake's on, and then you're good to go. So I'll make sure it's all the way tight. I'm gonna start jacking. We have to go pretty high on this car because it's low. Now I'm gonna make sure I have my jacks underneath as a safety device. Alright, so on this car there's this trap door to get to the oil drain plug. So we just take our Phillips screwdriver and loosen it real quick. I'm gonna use both my hands. It's a little tight down here. So it comes out real easy, like that. So now I'm gonna be taking off this drain plug. I'm gonna break it loose, but not take it all the way off, so that I don't get oil everywhere. I'm gonna try to catch this with my fingers, so that way it doesn't get lost in the pan. So that's loose. Take it off. Hold the pan under with my fingers, and I'm gonna loosen it very carefully. This is our drain plug, and there's our new gasket on top. and we're going to be putting it back in with our fingers. But first I'm going to wipe up a little bit of the oil, and then I'm going to try to get it in. Dab it a little bit. No matter what, some oil will still leak out. And then I'm going to get it in there with my fingers and just tighten it. And then we'll use a wrench. Alright, so I got as tight as I can get with my fingers. Now I'm going to dab it up a little more, make sure it's nice and clean. This is as clean as I can get it. And then we're going to take my socket wrench and put my head up a little higher, so that way it's wrist tight and not bottom tight. So get in there. Get it nice and tight. It's a little slippery still. Sure it's nice and tight, but we don't want to strip it. That feels nice and good. Alright, so now we're going to put our trap door back on. So we just pop it up here. And we tighten it with our screwdriver. Make sure it doesn't come out. They have a habit of falling out at some point. Alright, so now that we've removed this safety stand, we're going to slowly lower the car down. Alright, so now we're going to be taking off the oil filter cap, and we're going to take the oil filter out. So we take it so it breaks loose, and then get unscrewing a little bit. When it gets loose enough, you can just use your hand. Pull it up. It's quite oily. Let it drip for a minute. There we go. Up and over. There we go. I'm gonna pull out the old filter like that. And there we go. I'm gonna clean it off. We're clean it off to the best of our ability, and then I'll get this new one in. So now we have to take off the old O-ring. So we're gonna take our pick here. You can also use a screwdriver like I showed you. Like I showed you at the beginning. So there's our O-ring. We gotta get it off. Yeah, slides off. Easy. Yeah, that's our old O-ring. Now we're gonna take our new O-ring and we're gonna cover it in some oil. Use some oil in there. Get it nice and covered in oil. This doesn't matter what kind of oil you have. It needs to be lubricated before we put it on. Get some extra oil on there. So make sure it's nice and good. And we're gonna take it and we're gonna put it back on. Or put the new one on, I mean. So I'm just gonna pull that tight over. And it should roll straight on down. There we go. See, it's all on there. We'll take our new oil filter, put it on, make sure the lettering is on the top. Kind of shoves its way on there. Nice and in. Now, back over, push it back on, and just tighten it with our hands. Alright, so you just have to apply a little bit of pressure when you twist in. There it goes. Once it gets a little tight, we'll switch back to our socket wrench. Alright, this is my torque wrench. For this cap, it's factory rated for 18 foot-pounds of torque approximately. So we got as close as we can to that on here. And then we're gonna put it on here. And when it clicks, it means you've got to about 18 foot-pounds of torque. That's 18 foot-pounds. Alright, so now we're gonna grab our funnel and our oil. So our oil here is 5.28 US quarts, and this is a 7-quart engine. So we'll use all of this one, and we have another one to top it off. The first thing you do is you take off the oil fill cap, right off, take our funnel, plop it in there, grab this, and very carefully pour our oil in, very slowly so it doesn't overflow. Alright, so now we're gonna top it off. We're gonna put about 2 more quarts in with this. Then we're gonna take our dipstick, and then we're gonna run the engine for a minute, and then we're gonna come back and check our dipstick again. Pull this out. Wipe it off real quick. Wipe it off real quick, and then we're gonna dip it back in, and we're gonna see what we get. Alright, so when we check it, we are pretty much close to the line. So it looks pretty good from here. We're gonna run the motor real quick and see if it settles a little bit after that. Alright, so now we let the engine run for a little bit. The oil's gone through the filter, it is now settled again. So we're gonna check our dipstick to see if the line has changed, if we need to add any more oil. So we're gonna wipe it off first. Pull it up. And then, as you can see, it's still in the line. We're ready to add a little more. Alright, now we've put a little more oil in, and now we're gonna see if it's good now. As you can see, it's up to the line. Alright, so first you put your key in the ignition, then you hold down this button. Keep holding it, and put the key into the first position. I'll say test. And I'll say reset. And you hold it again until the reset starts to flash. Then you click it once. Now it's done. So that's my oil service interval. So now it will start logging like a trip odometer until my next required service, which is at 12,000 miles. Alright, so now that we've finished our oil change, it's time to go over why this was important. So first off, it's teaching you self-sufficiency. You're working on your own car, and that way you understand your vehicle more and you're safer on the road. So I never done that before on any car, and now I've learned more about how to take care of my vehicle and use the correct tools for the correct time, and how to make sure this car is well maintained for 1,000 miles. This car specifically has 268,000 miles. That's a lot of miles, especially for a BMW, which is a sportier car. They usually don't go that far before they get sent back to the dealership and stuff. Another thing is cost. Going to the dealership and getting my oil change done, it's about $100. Buying that kit online and getting it shipped here for free was only $65. It came with the oil, it came with the gaskets, came with the O-rings, came with the filter, and all the items I needed. And I had to learn my car, and I had to do a pretty simple job. It's not like I was changing headers or something crazy. It was just something simple. And tell me more about vehicle care. And everyone should change their oil. If you don't change your oil, you're basically throwing away your car. And I really like this car. I want to get rid of it. But it was definitely a learning experience for me. Someone who likes cars, likes to work on cars, but I've never done something like this before. Because I've done smaller things like I replace headlights and stuff. This is a big thing. And oil change is the big first car kind of thing. And that's what I have to do on this vehicle. And learn more about why this vehicle has certain quirks, like I said, with the oil filters, or the fact that it only takes a certain type of oil at high efficiency, and basically basic maintenance items that you do to keep this car running for thousands of more miles. And that's really the important part.